Our basement is a disaster, and if we're like most people, yours probably is too. So in order to fix that, we're gonna be building some storage shelves along this wall that are affordable and easy to put together. So that means we're gonna transform this basement from this to this coming up next. What we're gonna be doing to fix this problem is we're gonna be building some storage shelves in our basement. The plan is to build some shelves along this wall, get all these boxes up off the floor, probably do some purging at the same time to get rid of things that we don't actually need. And at the end, we'll have a really nice storage location that we can use to store all of our things that we don't always need, but we sometimes do, like Christmas decorations. So the first thing you want to do before you get started is make sure you have all of your materials purchased and all of the tools laid out so you can complete this project as fast as you can. If you'd like to download a guide that lists out all the materials that you'll see in this video, as well as all the tools that we use, we'll have links in the description below where you can go and download the build list. So the first thing you'll want to do is get your 2x4s marked for the cross bracing of each of your shelves. So we've gone ahead and done that, and what we're doing is we're cutting these at 21-inch dimensions. So what that'll allow us to do is build shelves that are exactly 2 feet deep, and you'll see why that's important here in just a little bit. So we've gone ahead and marked our 2x4s that we need. So we'll go ahead and cut these out, and then we'll start assembling each of the individual shelves. All the shelves will be using the length of an actual 2x4. It's going to work out well for our situation, but for your build, you might need to make it shorter. Two shelves. Since we don't want the wood to splinter, we'll be pre-drilling all the holes before we install the screws. All right, now that the shelf frames are complete, what we'll do is we'll take this in the basement and put it where it's going to be installed. We'll then attach the legs to this, and then we can come back out and cut the OSB that we'll need for the shelving. Next, what you'll want to do is make sure that you know how high you want to position these shelves. So in our case, the bottom shelf is going to be at 24 inches. That's going to allow us enough room to put a big tub or a big tote at the bottom and just have it sit on the floor. So in order to space out your shelving, what you want to do is you want to mark the locations on your legs, and in our case, the in and outside legs will be 2x4s, and the middle leg, since we're attaching 2 lengths of shelving together, will be a 2x6. So we want to make sure that you mark the position on this board to the height that you want to attach your shelves to. Then, once you've done that, you'll want to go ahead and attach your shelving to this leg, and we'll show you the process and what that looks like. All right, so this is basically how this is going to lay out on these boards. So first, you'll see here on this 2x4, what we're doing is we're overlapping this just a little bit. You don't have to do that, but because we've used these cabinet screws that actually stick out a little bit, we're just going to overhang this a little bit and give it a little bit more style to the shelving unit itself. And then over here, what we've done is we have marked the center location of this 2x6, so that way we know when we place this other shelf here to attach it that we're actually going to hit wood as well. So if this wasn't 2 units across, then we wouldn't have had to use a 2x6, but we wanted to make sure that this had enough material to attach to, so that's why we went ahead and changed it to a 2x6 instead of a 2x4 on this installation. Now the other thing you'll want to keep in mind is that your floor in your basement most likely is not level. So what we've done to help combat that is we've used our laser level to mark the position and the height of the shelving unit, at least for the bottom shelf. And what we've done is we've marked that location on these boards that will go in the back. Once we start to attach the top boards, we're going to have to take additional measurements to make sure that the boards are in the correct location, because you can see in our floor there's a couple places where there are floor drains, and in those spots the floor definitely is not level. So just a word of caution, if you're assembling this, make sure you do it on site, because you want to make sure that once it's put together, not only will it fit in your basement, but that it will be nice and level and it won't be to the point where it wants to tip over. Now that we have the shelves attached to the back legs, what we want to do is make sure we understand what the depth of this unit is going to be. So if we take a measurement here, it looks like it's going to be about 25.5 inches deep without the front leg. So the leg's going to sit about 26 inches out from the wall. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this measurement and we're going to go to where this shelving system is going to be installed. We're going to measure 26 inches out from the wall to understand what our floor height is at this point. So at this point, the floor is actually at 28.25 of an inch instead of 28 inches like it is at the back of the wall. And the reason for that is because the floor is actually sloping a little bit. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that this leg in this position is adjusted by 1/4 of an inch. And so we'll mark the board up that way before we attach it. So that way when we stand the shelving unit in place, it will be nice and level. So now that the shelving unit is actually standing and in place, what we can do then is take this 4th board and put it actually where it's supposed to go and get the correct measurements that way. So we can put this here, make sure with using this laser level that this shelf is at the right height, and just screw it into place, and then we can continue that for the rest of the shelves and we should be good. Now that we're at the point where these shelves are actually standing, we want to make sure that they're attached to the wall so that way they don't fall over and either hurt yourself or somebody else, like a small child. In order to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to choose to attach this shelving unit to the studded wall behind it. But if we didn't have studs behind it, or if we didn't want to do that, the best option you have is to install some wedge anchors in the concrete wall if your wall is concrete in the basement. Now, your application and the type might vary depending on what type of a basement wall that you have, but since this is solid concrete, these wedge anchors work really, really well. Now all we have to do is take the OSB that we cut for the shelves themselves, and we'll lay it down on each of these shelving frames. We'll nail it down with some finish nails, and we'll be done. All right, well, this build was pretty straightforward. However, if you want a materials list of everything that we used to put this together, go ahead and leave me a comment in the comment section below. I'll put together a download for you all so that way you have a little bit more instructions on how you can assemble this on your own. Hopefully you found this video helpful. If you did, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to Top Homeowner, where our goal is to help you become the top homeowner in your neighborhood. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Here you go. That's a ghost.
What's that?
That's a cat.
What's that?
That's a pumpkin.
His nose.
His nose.